Are you ready to get the hydrafacial glow? Loved in 87 countries across the world. It's not a facial, it's a hydrafacial. Now available across the UK. Visit hydrafacial.co.uk to find your nearest location.
Do ghosts have a social life? Do they go out for a dinner? Do they just hang out? Or do they actually do things?
Yeah, they will be reconnected. And even if you've had 6 wives, Elizabeth Taylor's over there having a fabulous time.
No, you see, they are busy.
Hello, girls.
Hey there.
Hi. I've got things to tell you because the weirdest thing happened to me the other day. As we all have doggies. So I went for a walk with Bear and Tink, and as usual, and Beanie. And Bear dropped his ball into the river. Now, you know, he often goes in to get his ball, but this time it was a different place and he couldn't really reach it. So he was sort of standing up with his paws sort of down there looking. So I slid down the bank and tried to get the ball up with my feet, but couldn't really do that well. But anyway, I moved it, and Bear managed to get down into the river because of where I was sitting and get the ball and get back up. So he goes back up to the top of the bank, and guess what? He just drops the ball and it goes right back into the water again. So I'm going, oh my God. At this time, Tinkerbell thinks this is ridiculous. She jumps in the water to get the ball and comes around the other way, but meanwhile can't get out. So she can't get out. So I slide down the other bank. Stop talking, Tinkerbell. I'm telling them what's happening. Sorry, I'm telling you. So I slid down the other bank, got her out of the water, and again, she drops the ball. By this time, I've got a dog over each shoulder who's looking for the ball, and I'm trying to get out. And in the end, I'm completely stuck. Meanwhile, I'm covered in scratches and nettle stings. And this Rosie, who was with me, got this man and this great big gorgeous South African. Tinkerbell, come here, sorry. Tink, come here. Come on, I'm telling the story. Come here. Oh God. Anyway, sorry about this, guys. Come here. She's coming. So anyway, this great big man came to lift me out, and he literally had to lift me up and lift me out, by which time the ball had disappeared completely. And I said to Bear, because I could see it from the top of the bank, he's now at the bottom. And I said to Bear, go up to the top of the bank. If you stand where I'm standing, you can see where the ball is. And he did exactly that. He saw where the ball was, went down, got it, and came back. And that was my story. So,
oh my God.
Oh my goodness.
What happened to the man? Well, he
man?
Was married, sadly. He was with his wife.
Oh.
He was gorgeous, Sherry.
I thought that was going to be a happy ending, darling.
Well,
an even better happy ending.
You know, if you leave the ball, they would always try and go back to get it. So I knew I'd had to get it out one way or yeah.
It's the fact that you've now bonded, that you have a language that he completely understands, which is brilliant. And I think you need to get him, you've got everyone else into work. You need to sort him out and get him a Disney film. That's all
I think so.
Definitely, definitely. Oh my darling.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank goodness Easter's over, so you're not full of chocolate and
no, I am. I'm still full of chocolate.
Are you? Still full of chocolate.
Still binging.
All the eggs are there, and I feel it's only my duty to consume them. It seems only, you know, people have made them, they've taken time, they've been on the shelves, they've now come into my home. I need to
you've got to eat them.
Those eggs. Yeah.
Absolutely.
See, my Keely, my daughter melts them down and makes cakes out of them.
Oh, brilliant
idea.
Great idea. That is a fabulous
because you know, there's 3 grandchildren, so they have like 25,000 eggs. So they come in and then she just takes them away, gives them one and melts them all down, and they all make cakes.
Oh,
brilliant. I'm not going to do that, however. I'm just going to eat all of mine.
Yes. Absolutely. Now then, girls, we have got a very spectacular, amazing guest on today, and we're going to be talking about ghostly things. Oh, by the way, before I introduce her, I must tell you that I have just found out that there's such a thing as a ghost shark. And yep, originated about 400 million years ago. They found one very, very rare. It's like, you know, a speck of sand in a desert sort of thing. And they found one living in the depths of the water, right? So a lot of talk about water today. Anyway, it's called a ghost shark. So ghostly things leading into the most amazing guest today. the world's #1 psychic she has been described as, and I would back that up. As Uri Geller said, completely accurate as a psychic. She's also a healer and a spiritualist. And it's the amazing June Field.
There she is.
Hey!
Hello.
How lovely to see you, darling.
Oh,
Welcome.
great. Welcome. Thank you as well. Thank you for inviting me on again. Great.
No, thank you for coming on. It's just a pleasure to have you on again. June, I have just completed your 2-day workshop course in that beautiful haunted house. Woo! And
where was that, Dee?
that was in
Leaston Manor, Dunmow, Essex.
yes,
Dunmow.
Dunmow.
Yeah.
That's right. In Dunmow, Essex. It was just superb. And, you know, I went there with no expectation, not really knowing why I was there. But by the end, I was actually seeing orbs. And I don't know whether that's ghosts or what, because I'd never seen a ghost before, but it was an amazing course. And June, you, as a medium on the Friday night, as I said to the girls last week, you're quite exceptional. So, we're talking about ghosts today, and you have seen ghosts, haven't you?
Yes, I've seen them since I was born. I was born like this. And I've always been able to see. I don't know any different. It's just as if, you know, we're all TVs. We've all got the same number of channels, but not everyone's is all tuned in. But you can work on tuning them in, and you can see as well. So yeah, I have seen since I was little. Ghosts are the same, you know, all around everyone. Nobody's ever on their own, ever, at any time.
So June, what is the difference between a ghost and a spirit?
Well, they're actually the same, Debbie. A ghost and a spirit are the same. People say to people, oh my, I've seen a ghost, but they've actually seen a spirit, which is, we are all spirits housed in physical bodies. And when our physical body dies, the spirit still lives. So the personality, the character, the individual, the bond, the connection you have is still the same. And the only difference is that because they don't have a physical body to be in, they're a higher vibration. And so when people see what they think is a ghost, and they'll go, oh my gosh, they walked through the coffee table and they walked through the door. It's only because if you think of us all as molecules, we're all vibrating on set vibrations. They vibrate higher. So what is solid to us as physical people is not solid to them. And that's the reason they walk through things, because they're just higher vibration.
But does that mean that they are around, I mean, all the time, everybody? So does it happen the minute you die that your spirit leaves, or is it with people who have Alzheimer's? I always think about this, that people who have Alzheimer's, are they kind of half in and half out?
They actually are, because it's a part of the brain that clicks in. And so therefore you can either be tuned in or tuned out. And so those with Alzheimer's can be half in and half out. And that's why you'll get them speaking sometimes to people that we can't see, or normal person can't see, because they're aware. And if you think about people near to death that are just about to leave the physical body, there's many people that will look up or talk to someone or point to someone in the corner or smile or stretch out their arm, because what happens when the door to this side of life starts to close, the door to the next is open, and for a period of time, you're able to see both sides of this side and spirit side until the physical side closes off, and then you go with those on spirit side.
You've actually got a lot of experiences, June, haven't you, of actually seeing ghosts? There was one you told me, wasn't that in a sort of a haunted house or a tower or something?
Well, it was in the Arthur Conan Doyle Centre, which is in Edinburgh. And Edinburgh is one of the most haunted places that you'll ever get. And so mediums teach courses there, and people come from all over the world. And so they have a medium's flat at the top of the building, and that you just go into it. But when everyone leaves, you're in this huge 3-story building yourself. They just give you the medium's keys and say, right, see you tomorrow. I don't like it personally, because I can feel that it's active. And on this particular occasion, they invited me, to do the demonstration one night, and then a weekend course, just similar to what you were on, Dee. And they said that they had the Scottish Psychical Research Institute in, you know, a few days before. And I went, what? That means that you've stirred everything up for me going in. So a student of mine said, you know, I'm going on your course. I said, have you booked a hotel yet? And she said, not yet. I said, well, do you want to stay in the medium's flat with me? And she said, yes, that would be great. I said, it'll be active because this has happened. She went, no problem. So we stayed. The first night was okay. And the second night, the chairperson came, we'd gone for a meal, we went back to the flat and we started talking about spirit. And I started to watch things behind her and I went, we need to stop this conversation. We need to stop it now. So we changed it. And she went away and I can feel the hairs on the back of my neck at that time up. And I said to Sam, my student, okay, good night. Went to bed. 2 a.m, the fire alarm went off. Now we were in that building ourselves. Fire alarm never gone off in that building. And so I got up and I went and I said to her, fire alarm's going off. I knew there was not a fire. I knew they just wanted us out of that flat. And so therefore we did slip our jeans on and things and go out. And the minute we opened the flat door, it was just very active at the top of these stairs. And they had on the red emergency lighting. So she immediately wanted to run down the stairs. I said, don't run, you walk. So we walked down and switched every light on in the place, got to the alarm system, phoned up the number and they said, oh, which number is it that's going off? I said, it's area 3. She said, that's the basement, go to the basement. I said, there's no way on this earth I'm going down to that basement. So if you could switch it off and reset it, I said, and if there is a fire, it'll go off again. So we trundled back upstairs, left every light blazing in that place and went into the flat. And we had a cup of tea. By this time, it was about 4 a.m. And then somebody started to push on the flat door. You know, like if you've got a snib, you could hear it. And her eyes went like organ stops. And she's like, and she looked to me and I said, it's okay, we're all right in here. Then the bin lid started to just flick back and forward by itself in the kitchen. And that's when I just then lost it. And I went, that's enough, you need to leave. And so they did, and it was all quiet. I taught my workshop the next day looking like Stig of the Dump because I hadn't slept all night. And I've been back since teaching there. I've never stayed there. I stay in the Hilton round the corner. I was going to
say, I would have been straight off to a travel lodge. I wouldn't have waited. There's a couple of questions I wanted to ask you. You said Edinburgh is the most haunted place in the world. Why? Just quickly, why is that?
Gosh, because there's a lot of history in Edinburgh. There's a lot of things at the witchery and people have been burnt and hung in Edinburgh Castle. Right. And of course with the plague, etc. Lots and lots.
Right. I wanted to ask you, I've never seen a ghost, but there's several moments I've had in my life when I've been doing something and out of the blue, a person will pop into my mind and apropos of nothing. And it's happened to me several times. And then the next day I find out that these friends and colleagues have passed on. And is it a kind of salute, sayonara, I'm gone, kind of a general email to everyone who's out there? Yeah. Because it wasn't a visitation, it wasn't anything else. It was just like, oh, why am I thinking of this person? And then the next day, it was the most strange thing. It's happened several times.
Well, it's lovely. But again, think of yourself like a TV or a mobile phone. You could be in the right place at the right time to receive a signal. When somebody does pass and they're a special person too, they will make an effort just to push into your vibration. And you will be able to pick them up and you'll have no rhyme or reason. You'll go, why am I thinking about? Same as you'll think about someone, a text will go or a phone will ring or something.
Can I also just quickly ask, Dee said she'd seen an orb. What is an orb, please?
An orb, well, remember, spirit, people, ghosts, if you want to call them, your soul, whatever it is, the little bright light that's housed in a physical body. The physical body dies, and so you're left with an energy, a bright light. So spirit, orbs, are actually people. And I've demonstrated in some places where I've got pictures of them being the size larger than my head, above my head, and you get faces in them. If you can capture them, you'll see a face in them.
Do you like the TV series Ghosts?
I've never watched it.
Oh, it's a comedy. You should watch it. It's lovely. And they're kind of, as you described, people just chatting and talking, and certain people can see them and certain people can't.
Yeah, I mean, it's not everyone's cup of tea, but yeah, I've got a sense of humour. You know,
Yeah.
I would probably appreciate that. I might have a look for that on the internet.
It's good. It's good.
I have to say, I have seen a couple of ghosts in my time, and really quite extraordinary. One was a little girl, and she was at the top of a house I was staying in, sitting on a bed. The only thing that made me think that why was she there was because she was in a kind of long dress. Anyway, I went downstairs and said to my friend, "Oh, who is the little girl that's staying with you?" She went, "What little girl?" And I went, "Oh my God." I said, "No." She said, no, there's no little girl here, but there was a little girl that died in that house. Anyway, blah, blah. And then I saw a lady on the stairs. But I think, to be honest with you, I think some people are susceptible to this. I don't want to be. I don't want to see ghosts. I don't want to see anybody. Thank you very much. But I think I'm one of those people that are susceptible, and that I have a mind that is open to it, even though I don't want to be. Do you know what I mean? And I had message from my brother when he passed, and that was amazing. But you said something earlier about the door to this life closes and then the next door opens. And I wish with all my heart I could believe that, because then maybe we wouldn't be so frightened of death. You know, maybe something else would take over and you think it's okay. Because that, I think the fear of death is in all of us, of course. But I do think some of us are open to it and some of us are shut. Am I right, or am I talking nonsense?
As I said earlier, that it's like we're all televisions. We've all got the same number of channels, but not everyone's is born with them tuned in. You're a person who's obviously been born with yours tuned in. And everyone's got fear of death. As I say, I'm not afraid of death, but I'm afraid of how I die. Yes. That fear is with everyone. And I think if you took away the fear of death from people, my perception is that people, when life gets tough, would just take their own life, because then they think it would be okay. So to have that fear or not really knowing is a good thing in a sense, because it makes you work through the hard times and just carry on. And you know, you will, it's not everybody's cup of tea to try and prove to everyone. I have a lot of people come to me when they want connections with loved ones, but you will find yourself one day that you will believe, just like every single other person in this world. And it is.
It's strange, isn't it? We're all very different though, aren't we? We all, some of us are fascinated by it, some of us don't want it. And and then, you know, to do a course like yours, maybe it helps people in a way, because maybe they come out knowing what they do want to think or do want to feel.
There are lots of different ways as well that people see people, because my mother was a practical joker. And so I always know when things happen that it's her.
Yeah, because she's still got her same personality and character. She'll still be the same individual. It's just, it's not everyone's cup of tea. But can I ask Sherry something? Sherry, when you saw that little girl, I'm going to ask you, was she looking at you, or was she just carrying on with what she was doing and you just saw her?
No, she talked to me.
Okay.
She spoke to me, and because I said, "Oh, hello." She went, "Hello." She was very sad. That's all I remember. It's a long, long time ago. I don't have a brain to remember things anymore, but that went. She was sitting on the bed and she looked up as I came in. That's why she was so real. Had she not looked at me, I might have been a bit scared, but I wasn't scared at all, because I thought she was a little girl that was staying in the house. Right. So she actually looked round and looked straight at me.
See, that's why kids see spirit a lot of the time, because they're just very accepting. They don't have in their mind, oh my God, that's not real and that shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
They're just open and they just accept it. And as you get older, you close it down and you look for logic. But you just obviously were on I think of it like signals. You could be a mobile phone, you go about, sometimes you think, oh my God, this is a great signal. So you were obviously on a perfect signal for that to happen just at that time.
What was the first ghost you saw?
Oh, when I was little and very small, you're probably about, I remember about 3-4 years old, that they all used to gather around my bed. And I remember saying to my dad, there's lots of people in here, you know, and he'd just say, well, just smile at them and they'll smile back. But they actually didn't. But they weren't looking fierce either. They would just look at me. And when I think about it, when I was with my sister, I've got an older sister, we had bunk beds and I was on the top. And I remember these people looking down at me.
No.
And the logic then kicks in that there must have been way over 6-7 foot tall to do that. But when you're young, you don't realize that. So that started and continued throughout my whole life. I don't know anything any different. I see people all the time.
Sherry's ghosts seem to talk to her normally and communicate immediately. But you're saying some just look at you and don't communicate. What's that about?
I think that they were guides and helpers that were just nurturing me on at that young age, knowing what I was going to be doing later on in life. Because this is not something I chose to do in life at all. Not at all. It chose me.
When Talia was little, she probably about 18 months old, when she started to talk, I used to say, good night, darling. She said, oh, I'm just going into my rocket. And I said, what rocket? So every night I go into my rocket and I go back home and I see all my friends. And I said, what sort of friends? She said, all the friends I had before I came here.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yes. In her
rocket. Do spirits come back then as somebody else? Or are they the person that they are and they've gone to the other side and they stay there just, and everyone, as we said before, there's the life and then there's the afterlife. But do they come back then? Do they to and fro?
You're talking about reincarnation. So you have the option whether you want to come back and live another life to gain an experience so that you can progress spiritually. Or you can stay on the same rung of the ladder if you want. And doesn't have to be next week. And so you're not going to miss your loved ones coming over because it could be hundreds of years that you think, I'm going to go back, I want to progress. So,
do ghosts have a social life? Do they go out for a dinner? Do they just hang out? Or do they actually do things? Let's go and go to the zoo, or let's go, what do they just...
There's no zoo across here. They're an energy. We're all energies. We're energies out in physical body. So that you don't have a physical body to feed.
No, but it's a thing of thinking, well, let's go and have a social, or let's go and have a chat under this tree. Are they just kind of, as you said, just floating about, peering at people or whatever, or saying, sometimes talk, whether people are tuned into their right channel, or do they communicate together?
They will do things to help loved ones. So you've heard of many people maybe being in a car and they've heard a voice shout, don't go that way, and they've stopped and they've gone away and there's been an accident. They are there helping as much as they can loved ones or people to progress, and they're not all sitting together having cups of tea and people think
like husbands and wives and things. Do they reconnect? Do the children, does everyone, are they grouped together, or is it, that's what I mean, it's not that they're having
without a doubt. They will be reconnected. And even if you've had 6 wives, Elizabeth Taylor's over there having a fabulous time.
You see, they are busy.
Not in a physical sense, but you can have a love with many different people. There's no jealousy. All jealousy is to do with material things, physical body, etc. Not spirit side.
When my husband died, he before he died, because he knew that he was going to die, and he said, if there's any way of getting back to you, I will. And the phone rang in the middle of the night, a couple of days after he passed. And I picked the phone up and there was nobody there. And I dialed 1471 and it didn't register. It registered only that afternoon. So not that phone call. I always thought that was him.
Yeah.
And the other thing that happened when my grandmother died, she used to buy me premium bonds. And the day after, I won 50 quid on the premium bond. And I'm sure that was her.
These are little signs. They'll give you little subtle signs or sometimes big signs, depending on what signal you've got to receive, just to let you know that they're okay. And they usually will try and do that as soon as possible after they've passed, because those on spirit side that are connected with them, they supply the battery power or the energy for them to give you that little burst of communications. It takes a lot of energy to communicate to, and that's why they wait for the right time. And most people have interactions at night, but it's nothing to do with the dark. It's because everything's quiet. The mind's quiet.
My friend Tracy Bennett said to me, when you see a little white feather, that's often a clue.
Yeah, I see white feathers.
Yeah, what's your thoughts on?
Now, white feathers, they're free. They're called little apports. Things will drop. And if you have an apport where there's an object comes, like maybe a cup or a ring or something, they have to take that from somewhere. But white feathers are free. And I get them a lot, and I don't have feathers in my house because my son is asthmatic, so there's no feathers. We're in no free
them outside.
live next to a bird's nest. I mean, that's not a sign, okay? No. But you find one in places where they just wouldn't be. That's just like know that they're close.
I had a really interesting message from my grandma. I was really upset. I was crying when she died. And that night I went to bed and I had this incredible dream. And in this dream, I said to her, why do people not come back? And she said to me, because when you go to school and you're in the classroom, you don't keep checking next door to see if the class is still going on next door. You know that you're going to see each other in the playground. And I went, is that that's it? And she said, oh, so I said, so what is the meaning of life? And she got me to write on a blackboard, because it's all in the school in my dream. And it was fulfillment. And I couldn't spell it. Is it double L? Is it one L? She kept saying it's fulfillment. That is the reason for your life.
Oh, that's very good. Well done.
Wonderful. That's fabulous. June, thank you so much. Will you come back, June? And
without a doubt. It's lovely to chat.
June, tell us about your show in the Isle of Wight, quickly.
Yes, it is the Shanklin Theatre on the 22nd of April in the Isle of Wight.
Right. Okay.
Are you on tour at the moment?
No, I'm just over here doing an event that was scheduled from 2 and a bit years ago, as like everyone else is. I'm just getting around to it now.
June, I know you're fully booked up for a couple of months, but the website, tell us where we can find you if anyone wants a reading.
It's www.junefieldmedium.com.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, darling.
Thank you, June, for all that you do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Well, that's answered a lot of questions. That's fantastic.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There has to be something else, doesn't there? I mean, it's like, just can't be this, because, I mean, especially with the feelings you get. And as you say, you know, Harriet, things that happen and Sherry seeing, you know, ghosts and Debbie, or, you know, that fabulous dream with your gran. I mean, that was lovely.
Yeah, it was lovely. I always think about it because it makes so much sense, doesn't it? Because people always say, well, why doesn't people come back? But there's no point, because we're only in the next room, as that wonderful poem is.
That is it, yeah. Beautiful. Oh, guys, what a fabulous show. That was lovely, wasn't it, chatting to June? Well, so darlings, we'll see you next week then.
Absolutely.
Yes.
See you next week, everyone.
Bye.
See you.
Bye.
Have a good weekend.
Bye.